Hi there, this is Mr. Jones, and I'd like to help you today with using scale. Now remember, a scale model, or a scale drawing, or a scale map, or whatever it is that's represented as scale, is a model that's similar to the object that it represents. Generally speaking, it's a different size, but it's the same shape, and the dimensions are proportional. All right, the scale is the ratio of one dimension of the model to the corresponding dimension of the object. Okay, so for instance, in this map that I have drawn, it's drawn to scale, and on this map, the 1 inch represents 75 miles in actual distance. Okay, now this map or illustration is taken from the example in the book, but remember that when it's captured and reproduced on the computer screen, right, the size may be slightly different than the size in the book. So even though it says that 1 inch represents 75 miles, when we take a measurement in inches on this map, the distance from Birmingham to Atlanta may be slightly different than the distance in the map recorded in the book. So we'll use this scale and we'll use this map to determine our distances, but just remember that the values that we arrive at using the computer map may be slightly different than the ones in the book if you did the same problem. Okay? So on this map, let's use a ruler to find the approximate distance from Montgomery down here to Columbus, which is fairly horizontal compared to Montgomery. Okay? And then we'll convert the distance into miles. Now I've drawn for you a ruler, so I'm going to see if I can capture that ruler and use it to measure the distance. So we'll just slide this up until we get the 0 mark right on Montgomery, and you can see that 1 inch is right here. Hopefully you can see that. And then Columbus is right almost on the quarter mark, so let's say that means that the distance from Montgomery to Columbus is 1 1/4 inches, or 1.25 inches. Okay? And then let's slide our ruler back down so we can use it for the next problem, hopefully. Well, now I can use the scale to find out how far in miles it is from Montgomery to Columbus. Now notice the road from Montgomery to Columbus is not a straight line. It follows many ins and outs and ups and downs. Okay, so the actual distance will probably be further than what I calculate, but my calculation will give me a good approximation to begin with. So what I'm going to do is write a proportion. 1.25 inches on the map represents X number of miles, and that's the scale is 1 inch is 75 miles. So we set up a simple proportion. 1.25 inches is X number of miles, and that should equal the ratio of 1 inch to 75 miles. Okay, and remember, with a proportion, you can simply cross multiply to eliminate the proportion. 1.25 times 75 should equal 1 times X, or simply X. Okay, so X is going to be 1.25 times 75, and that's equal to 93.75 miles. So about 94 miles. In fact, you may want to approximate and say that X is really about 100 miles. Okay, I'm guessing that it's going to be a bit further than I've estimated, because the road doesn't follow a straight line path from Columbus to Montgomery, and that would be, of course, the shortest distance between those 2 points, a straight line. Okay, so we'll say that the distance is about 100 miles, and that'll give me a pretty close approximation if I want to actually drive it. Okay, well, let's see if you can find the approximate distance from Birmingham to Atlanta. Birmingham is up here, Atlanta is over here, so I'll scroll up just a bit, and you can use your own ruler and see if you can take that measurement and then calculate that as a distance. And when you're ready, hit continue, and I'll show you my results. If I can once again capture my scale, or my ruler I should say, and bring this up. Okay, the 0 mark is on Birmingham, and you can see Atlanta, let's see, 1 inch, 2 inches, pretty close to 2 1/4. Now it's a little less than 2 1/4, but notice the road is actually going uphill on the map from Birmingham to Atlanta, so this is going to be a little bit further than the horizontal distance, so let's say 2 1/4 inches is a pretty close approximation. Alright, so if it's 2 1/4 inches, then I can use the scale and make a proportion. 1 inch is 75 miles, so 1 to 75 is equal to 2.25 inches that I measured over x miles. And then I do the cross multiplication, and x times 1, x is equal to 2.25 or 2 1/4 times 75. That gives me 168.75, so about 170 miles. Okay, and once again, remember, the road is not perfectly horizontal, nor is it perfectly straight between Birmingham and Atlanta, so it may be somewhere around 170 miles. It could be 175 to 180 miles, somewhere in that distance. Okay? Well, that gives you an idea of how to use a scale on a map to find distances, and how to use proportions to find missing dimensions in scale drawings or scale objects. Okay? Well, I urge you to work carefully and work well.